It was another smoky day across central Oregon, and temperatures picked up. In fact, if you thought today was hot, get ready because we're really bringing the heat Thursday and Friday. We're talking temperatures that are not only going to be well above average for this time of the year, but some triple digits are even going to be possible. Hey everyone, I am Darrell Winninger, Chief Meteorologist at Central Oregon Daily News. We're about to take a deep dive into your most reliable forecast. Look at the changes that have already happened across the high desert, what comes next, and what those changes mean for our forecast. It's really going to impact us right here on the high desert. And of course, we're starting off with a look outside, and that view is a smoky one. There are some cameras in a few of our higher elevations, like up at Hoodoo, that don't have as much smoke in them, but that Bachelor camera overlooking the top of from the top of Outback, overlooking Tumalo Mountain, you can barely see what's past Tumalo Mountain. And the rest of Central Oregon, we just have a whole lot of smoke impacting us, and that is impacting air quality. So let's look at another set of cameras. These ones are all courtesy of the Oregon Hazards Lab, and each one shows a little bit different picture. What we do not see is much at all in the way of cloud cover, and also we do not see any smoke plumes, any columns of smoke coming up from fires. But let's go ahead and look at the entire Oregon Hazards Lab network. This is also paired up with the Central Oregon Air Quality, courtesy of airnow.gov, or the DEQ. And what we're really seeing is a whole lot of smoke impacting our air quality throughout the Tri-County area. For much of Jefferson and Crook counties, there is very unhealthy air quality. Across most of the Tri-County area outside of that, we have unhealthy. It is unhealthy for sensitive groups from Sisters through Bend, getting down into Three Rivers. Lapine, and just outside of Sisters, is moderate air quality. And when we look a little bit closer at this and focus on some of the real-time sensors, I actually just got a real-time update there. It does look like it changed. It improved just a little bit, and that's because of the stronger winds that we have coming out of the northwest, helping to kick some of that smoke a little further to the south and to the southeast. So we have unhealthy air quality at this moment. It just updated, so sorry about that. But it is unhealthy from Warm Springs Reservation in Wasco County all the way down into Redmond and Bend, and most of Crook County and the rest of Jefferson County, a little bit of Deschutes County right on the Highway 20 corridor. But what we also see is even more improvement when it comes to some of the real-time sensors and the hourly average in Deschutes County. So we have moderate air quality for the hourly average in Sisters, almost down to Tumalo, not quite there, for Lapine getting up into the Three Rivers, and the real-time sensors are showing moderate air quality as well. That's two different air quality monitoring networks. Let's look at a third. We also have access to some of the purple air data, and that's what's visible on Watch Duty. With all the other fire intelligence that's on there, it also has some of these air quality sensors. And what we're actually seeing is for the real-time purple air quality, it still shows unhealthy for the better part of Bend up through Redmond, getting into Madras as well, and over towards Prineville. But because of those winds that have been a little breezy at times, if you're around Sisters, Black Butte Ranch, getting up into the Sandy Ann Pass, or on the flip side of that, down between Lapine and Lava Butte, you have much better air quality there as well. Now, it's still not green for most of the high desert, but a little bit of improvement, we will take that, because earlier today alone, there was one sensor, there were a couple sensors actually closer to Prineville, near the Ochoco Reservoir, just east of Prineville, that were so poor air quality. It wasn't just hazardous. Hazardous runs from 300 parts per million to 500 parts per million, and it was double that. It was more than 1,000, and so that just means you could barely see in front of where you were, and we just had very poor air quality. So this improvement is definitely a good thing. Now, when it comes to the air quality alert that's in effect from the DEQ, that's still in place for most of all of Central Oregon and most of the state, taking out a few counties that were in there yesterday. On top of that, we have a series of heat advisories to the southern half of the state as well as through the valley, but not quite into Central Oregon. There's also a red flag warning until 9 p.m. this evening for the southwestern corner of the state, including the greater Medford area, and there is a fire weather watch for Saturday, and that is because of very dry conditions and winds that are going to be breezy at times. So these conditions are not over, and we have no precipitation in sight, not just through Oregon, but the entire Pacific Northwest. Barely a cloud in the sky, and certainly no rain to be seen. So let's take a moment and talk about why. There is a broad ridge of high pressure that is anchored over the Pacific Northwest, and it's the next couple of days it actually starts to recede back into the Four Corners region, and that system that's out over the Pacific Ocean doesn't even impact us, the one that's right up there, the one that's right over my head. But we stay under this ridge of high pressure, at least partially, so hotter days continue. It gets even hotter with mid to upper 90s, some triple digits during the next 48 hours, and tons of smoke still in our planner, especially as winds calm down overnight. That smoke starts to settle, swings back around to the south and the southwest, kicks a little bit more of that smoke back into Central Oregon. It fans out, and we're still looking at periods of just poor air quality. It is going to get hotter through Thursday and Friday, but it's also going to be critically dry. And with these dry conditions and no rain in sight, smoke and heat are going to be the primary talking points through the next couple of days. Now, even when we look at a high-resolution forecast model, the biggest change-up you're going to notice is look right around Prineville. Look to the northeast of Prineville. That's where the Roe Creek fire, where it's still burning over North Crook County, that's where it is. That cloud you see, that's smoke, that's visibility, reduced visibility coming off that fire line, as well as the grasshopper fire up near Hood. And so each one of those are going to continue to produce even more smoke. Outside of that, more sunshine, breezy at times each afternoon, no rain in sight. That continues right through this weekend. Now, relative humidity is critically low. We're talking teens and single digits the last couple of hours. Right now, at 5:40 p.m. on this Wednesday, August 5th, we have a couple spots that are still in the single digits. Prineville, 9%. Warm Springs, 9%. The rest is Central Oregon, 10 to 17% humidity. That is bone dry, even for the high desert. Now through today, look, we finally got some of the final numbers in for Central Oregon. He got up to 100 degrees in Warm Springs, mid to upper 90s for the rest of Central Oregon, save just a couple spots. And one of the top temperatures on the map was 97. We reached that in Paulina, Lapine, Bend, and Sisters. Pardon me, I need to get some water, but we're almost done, so we're going to crank through this. And there were a couple spots that didn't quite get that hot. Now, in the last 24 hours, that means temperatures are running between 7 and 10 degrees warmer than it was this time yesterday. And even at this moment, it's still at triple digits in Warm Springs, just not quite everybody else. We have 90s and a few 80s on the map. And as we go forward through the rest of this evening, it stays warm this evening, gets mild overnight with a little cooler conditions by the time we're starting the day tomorrow. This is also when smoke is really going to be fanning out as winds taper off. And then by Thursday afternoon, mid to upper 90s with a few triple digits expected. UV intensity, not nearly as high. It is going to be high, just not very high like we typically see this time of the year because of the abundant smoke over the high desert. And again, 90s with a few triple digits. By Saturday and Sunday, we start to see a shift in the weather pattern. That improves our air quality a little bit, but it worsens our UV intensity forecast. And between now and Saturday at 11 p.m., nada, no rain in sight. Now your temperature trend shows that we're going to be topping out in the mid to upper 90s with a few triple digits Thursday and Friday. By Saturday and Sunday, that high pressure starts to flatten a little bit. It begins to recenter itself over the Four Corners region, so it almost recedes out of the Pacific Northwest. That's going to set the stage for a modest dip in temperatures, eventually bringing us back down to seasonable and 80s by the time we get into the beginning of next week. Meanwhile, well, this forecast model shows pretty much the same thing the other one did, just for a longer time. No rain in sight. Very little in the way of cloud cover the next couple of days. A few clouds are possible, none of them coming anywhere close to bringing any precipitation at all. So between now and next Tuesday at 5 p.m., so almost a full week, no precipitation in sight. Currently, though, look at some of these wind gusts, 20 to 25 miles per hour in a few locations. Not for everybody, though. And actual winds are more like 5 to 15 miles per hour. And through the next couple of hours, it gets breezy, even a little gusty at times. Then those winds taper back down to 2 to 12 miles per hour, and then 0 to 5 miles per hour overnight as they swing back around to the south and southeast. Then going forward through the next couple of days, it's still going to get breezy at times each afternoon. Critical fire danger is expected. we will actually see this help to clear out the air with temperatures heating up so much, kind of expands the vertical column, and that helps the smoke to not be as dense over one area. On top of that, the wind is going to help clear the smoke as well. But for tonight, still smoky, still 50s, some 40s. By tomorrow, mid to upper 90s, and a few triple digits expected. And then we keep that heat through Friday, but by Saturday and Sunday, we start to turn it right back around. By Monday and Tuesday, we're back into the 80s with a few 90s, right on target for this time of the year. Through the entirety of our 7-day planner, there's no precipitation in sight. Lows mostly in the 50s with some 40s. So when it comes to your weather headlines for this Wednesday, August 5th, big heating continues. It stays critically dry on the high desert. With more smoke in the forecast, there will be some afternoon breezes that could help clear the air just a little bit. So remember, if you have a lot of things to do outside, hydrate, 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 and when applicable, seek the shade. There's no reason to be in the direct sunshine, especially if you're in that thick smoke. And across the entire Pacific Northwest, there's very little in the way of cloud cover and no precipitation in sight. We're going to do one more quick thing. We're going to look a little bit further forward. This is days 8 through 14. So past the 7-day planner, another week. Temperatures are still going to be running above average for this time of the year, and it still looks pretty dry that far out. So with temperatures approaching triple digits, remember, it does not take long for that temperature inside the car to resemble closer to an oven. So your car turns into an oven, and we're at 140 degrees by 10 minutes with the windows rolled up. By 30 minutes, it's just off the scale. It's just hot. And that actually that 140 degrees at 100, outside temperature at 100, inside temperature is at 140 in less than 15 minutes. That's just brutally hot in there. So look before you leave. Make sure you check the back seat, the front seat, all the seats for any fur babies or human babies before you leave that car. That's the latest in weather. Tune in tonight to Central Oregon Daily News. We'll have the latest headlines and your most reliable forecasts. See you then.